This is the Classrooms for Windows, developed by Hillcrest Games Incorporated and published by Zypher Games. It's still considered pre-release, although this was first released back in October of 2022. We have a total of 6 levels currently, and being that this is an early release, I'm hoping that there are going to be more levels out there. I like what we have so far, I just think it'd be great to get more. This is a liminal horror experience, and there are a bunch of games like this available on Steam. The genre follows a basic plan. You are in some sort of a dimensional loop. You're trapped in an area of some kind. In this case, various rooms that repeat, and there's going to be little logic to these layouts because all the maps are randomized. Your basic goal is to just escape the level. To do this, you have to solve some sort of a puzzle and find the exit, and you also have to avoid an entity of some kind. There's a creature out there. There are also clues along the way. There's stuff you're going to find related to the history of what's happening. There are going to be things written on walls, notes you can pick up, stuff like that. These are things that just make the game creepier, and of course, sometimes give you clues as to how to escape a level. You're playing through the eyes of a camcorder, and each stage will eventually become a different videotape that you unlock on the main menu, and this lets you select and replay whatever level you've already beaten. It's kind of clever, and it works. The levels being all randomized is something that I love, because it means there are no maps to memorize, and every time you play it could be easier or possibly more difficult. It's totally random, and I love that. Now, the first level is actually called The Classrooms, and this is a game that starts with you entering a school. You're outside to start, and then you're inside. You pass through reality, apparently. Something about you going into a different dimension, and now there's no obvious way to escape. The hallways are bleak, monotonous, and there are going to be various rooms with steel doors that you'll see in schools. It just feels right. The rooms are going to have minor amounts of furniture. There'll be cabinets and bookcases and chairs and stuff, but things are generally sparse and empty. There are some items you can pick up. Sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't. And there are certain things that you pick up and actually go into your inventory. The inventory system is relatively basic, but it works just fine. Mostly I'm looking for batteries for my flashlight, because the flashlight does drain. And usually I complain about batteries in a flashlight, but so far I'm okay with the way this one is going. I've never been to a point where I was in a deficit. Now, of course, the goal is to make it to the exit, and on this level it's an elevator. But to get there you have to figure out how to unlock it first. That's your puzzle of the level. Now, as you're wandering around the level, you're eventually going to run into this gross, filthy doll that's just sort of standing or sitting there staring at you. If it touches you, it's going to rip you apart, so you need to get away from it. It will chase you, but only when you're not looking at it. So if you walk backwards, you can kind of control where it is in relation to you. What it can't seem to do is open doors, so I always try to lure it into a room and then close the door behind it, and that kind of solves the problem. The second level is the library room, and that's you looking for books on various bookcases. If you put enough books into the book slot, you can unlock the exit. The creature walking around this level is easy enough to avoid if you're paying attention. It's this big beefy guy stomping around, and he doesn't have a head, but he has this gigantic ear instead. If you make too much noise, or you bump into an obstacle, stuff like that, it will find you. It'll track you down and beat you up. But if you're careful, and you're not running too much, you really probably won't create enough sound for him to track you down. Certainly it's creepy to get killed by a big giant ear face guy. Bathrooms is the next level, and it's a series of these creepy bathrooms that are dark and connected at random. There's also a foot of water on the floor slowing you down. The creature here is this gigantic sort of stilt monster that's plowing around tracking you down. It's a little unnerving, I guess. The exit here is actually this little ledge you can't get up on, but there's a floating piece of plywood in front of it. Basically, you have to find the valve on the level, you turn it up, and so the water level will rise. And if you go back to this spot, you can jump on the plywood and then jump onto the ledge to escape. It took me a couple tries, but I got through it. The dark rooms is next, and that's a bunch of dark hallways and rooms. There's also a spirit floating around this level, and if it gets close to you, your camera's going to start to get all sort of fuzzy and flicker. This sort of behavior can actually happen on different levels, but this is the level that it freaks me out the most on when it happens. You can turn on lights if you find the light switches for the various rooms, but that only works in a temporary fashion, and they will keep turning off on you, throw you back into darkness. You do have that flashlight, but the light switches are probably better. Ultimately, what you have to do is turn off the complete power to the level, because the exit tunnel area is electrified, and it'll kill you if you try to walk through it. So you have to find where the power is, cut it off, and then race your way out, avoiding this spirit. The pool rooms is the next area, and that's this giant internal series of shallow pools that are all connected with different slides, doorways, and these random pool floats are floating around, stuff like that. There's this odd puffy looking entity that sort of flickers to life every now and again, but he doesn't seem to attack you. It just sort of scares you and makes a lot of noise. It's kind of weird. You also find some corpses that you can loot, and that's kind of connected to the puzzle of the level, but eventually there's a room with a control panel, and if you activate the control panel properly, a spiral staircase appears. If you go through the staircase, at the top of the stairs is a switch and a microwave. You figure out the puzzle a little more, and then you flip this switch, and when you flip this switch, it opens the exit door, so you now have to run all the way back to the beginning where the exit is. But it also releases the entity on the level, and it's this gigantic snake sort of creature with a creepy head. And it's, I don't know, a snake, a worm, I'm not sure, but it's total nightmare fuel. Here you just don't want to touch it. It's not that fast, but if you're not looking for it, it is going to run you down. And it keeps running me down. And this is the last level that I've actually made it to. I haven't been able to complete it yet. I keep getting killed. Once I got like right up to the end, I had to turn a corner and I should have been able to get out. But I spun around to see if I was being chased. I didn't know if it was behind me, and it was. It was like right there, and I got killed immediately. It was terrible, and it made me jump out of my seat. It was nuts. So this level is really difficult for me. The level after this is called the Kids' Rooms, and it's just a place with wall-to-wall carpeting and lots of bright colors. There's also a little dog monster running around, and he mutates into this thing that's going to kill you. I've seen this stage online. I just haven't gotten to it yet. I keep getting wiped out in the pool rooms. They also added a new gameplay section recently, and it's called Endless Descent. And I guess it's basically a tower of levels, and you just keep descending from one level to the next, and they keep repeating. But it's you trying to see how deep you can get. It seems to be a stage level arrangement for the experts, those hardcore players that really want a challenge, because it gets more difficult the deeper you go. I guess one of the other things that I ran into when I was playing this is some of the rooms have wall panels that you can remove. If you have a screwdriver, you can sort of circumvent certain rooms. I never really managed to use this to my advantage, but I imagine with the more difficult gameplay mode, it probably will be useful. Overall, this is a solid enough game. I mean, especially for something in development. I played games that are far more broken than this, that are still considered an alpha stage. I wouldn't say this is the pinnacle of gameplay, but it is fully playable as it is now, and it's definitely on par with the types of games I've experienced in this genre. I hope to keep adding levels to flesh it out a little more. I don't know what I would consider a good end goal for a game like this. I'm just spitballing here, and I'm guessing 15 to 20 levels would probably feel right, but I'm really not sure. It's hard to know what to expect from a game like this. Should there ever actually be an end? Should you get to a spot where you actually make it to blue sky? I don't know. I think there are benefits in both capacities. You can leave with a sense of dread, or you can leave with a rush of escape. No idea. Well, that's all I have today for the classrooms. Thank you so much for stopping by for a look, and I hope to catch you on another video.